The Trump takeover of the Republican National Committee continues to backfire as the purge of the professional staff of the RNC has left the group with a brain drain just as the campaign heats up. But at least they hired a respected chief counsel who's a campaign finance wizard. Well, now he's been shown the door after just 2 months. And you want to hear why? Let's discuss. I'm Dave Aronberg, state attorney for Palm Beach County, aka the Florida lawman, here on the MeidasTouch network. Thank you for all your views, your likes, and your comments. I love reading them. Please keep them coming. And now I want to tell you about Charlie Spies. Now, the name is spelled S-P-I-E-S. You can understand why he may not want to go by Spies. He pronounced it Spies. That he is a respected lawyer in the area of campaign finance. He's a veteran of Ron DeSantis' campaigns and Jeb Bush. So he's been in Republican circles and he knows all the loopholes. So when Lara Trump was appointed to co-chair the RNC and have a full Trump takeover of this organization, they made a mistake in firing a lot of people now they're trying to bring back because they realized that, well, those were the professionals we needed, and now they're trying to rehire some or most of them. But the one guy they did bring on in March is a guy who knows stuff, who's really someone who can help navigate through these difficult waters of the FEC, Federal Election Commission, and all the rules and regulations. Well, he's now been pushed out. And the reason? Apparently because he didn't believe in Trump's election lies. According to NBC News, Spies was previously described by a campaign official as, quote, the best at what he does, knows the FEC loopholes better than anyone, but a gun for hire. However, Spies was not a fan of the former president. He previously worked for Florida Governor Ron DeSantis during the GOP primary. The longtime Republican lawyer is known for expanding the use of super PACs after the landmark Citizens United decision. Spies has also previously rejected election-related conspiracy theories that have been touted by Trump allies. In a statement responding to reports of Spies being pushed out of the RNC, Alex Floyd, the Democratic National Committee's rapid response director, said that Trump's takeover of the RNC has led to an election denier litmus test for new hires, and speculated that Spies was purged for disagreeing with Trump's dangerous conspiracy theories about the 2020 election. In 2021, Spies publicly contradicted false claims about voting machines switching votes. When asked during a conservative political action conference panel about what to do about voting machines switching votes, he pushed back against the false conspiracy theory that has been backed by Trump allies. Quote, I may get booed off the stage for this, but I have to say that's simply not true. There is just zero evidence that's true, Spies said at the time. So a truth teller, huh? Yeah, that's a no-go when there's a litmus test apparently at the RNC where they're asking their employees whether they believe that the election was stolen. You can't have people who believe in honest elections apparently there at the RNC. You got to believe that the thing was rigged or else the former president can get upset at you. So it's just a bizarre world. Now, as far as the RNC is concerned, they're putting their best foot forward and saying this was not about any litmus tests. In fact, they say that Charlie approached RNC Chief of Staff Chris LaCivita about potential time commitment conflicts, and it was agreed that while we appreciate and value Charlie's expertise and professionalism, he cannot do this role full-time and still maintain the obligations to his law firm that he has spent years successfully building, said RNC spokesperson Danielle Alvarez in a statement first to NBC News. According to The Guardian, it's all been about the litmus test. They say that the idea was to ensure there would be no overlap between the RNC and the Trump campaign, which already had robust political and communications teams, and to weed out any staffers who are not fully committed to Trump and the wider MAGA movement. But the threats of termination and the rumored loyalty tests, aka litmus tests, which turned out to be accurate when staffers were asked in job interviews if they thought the 2020 election was stolen from Trump, though there has been no evidence of election fraud, may have been too aggressive In the weeks that followed, although the new RNC leadership quietly extended offers to a majority of former staffers, with the exceptions of those who worked in the RNC political department, some staffers on crucial teams declined to return, the sources said. Things are not going well for the new RNC. I know, what a shocker, right? When you put your family and your cronies in charge of a multi-million-dollar operation that is a key in helping you get back to the White House, and all of a sudden it starts falling apart because you only want to hire true believers, people who live on Earth 2, who actually believe the election was stolen, or perhaps even worse, I think, people who know better and yet go along because they want the payday or they want the power. Personally, I think that's worse. You see that with Tim Scott, the U.S. Senator from South Carolina, who was supposed to be this independent-minded, new face of the Republican Party until he floundered when he began running for president himself in the Republican primary. But one thing he did do was that he always sucked up to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump noticed. And Donald Trump had him on stage, and now he's being vetted to be vice president as a potential running mate for Donald Trump. So when Tim Scott was on the Sunday shows, well, he was asked point blank, would you go along with the election if Trump doesn't win? I mean, are you going to accept the results of this election like we're supposed to, as people believe, supposedly in a democracy? After all, you can't really believe in democracy only when you win. And here's Senator Scott's answer.
Senator, will you commit to accepting the election results of 2024? Bottom line.
Well, at the end of the day, the 47th president of the United States will be President Donald Trump, and I'm excited to get back to low inflation, low unemployment.
Wait, Senator, yes or no? Yes or no? Will you accept the election results of 2024 no matter who wins?
That is my statement.
But is it just yes or no? Will you accept the election results of 2024?
I look forward to President Trump being the 47th president. Kristen, you could ask him multiple times.
Senator, just a yes or no answer.
So the American people will make the decision.
But I don't hear you committing
for President Trump. That's clear.
I don't hear you committing to the election results.
Here's the challenge.
Will you commit to accepting the election results?
This is why so many Americans believe that NBC is an extension of the Democrat Party. At the end of the day, I've said what I've said, and I know that the American people, their voices will be heard, and I believe that President Trump will be our next president. It's that simple.
I'm asking you, as a potential VP nominee, will you accept to commit to the election results in this election cycle, no matter who wins? Just simply yes or no.
I expect President Trump to win the next election. Listen, I'm not going to answer your hypothetical question when, in fact, I believe the American people are speaking today on the results of the election. And if it continues for the next 6 months, we find ourselves in a great position where we get back to another century of American prosperity. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
Senator Scott wasn't always like this, according to NBC News. Ahead of the January 6, 2021 congressional session to certify the presidential election results, Scott said in a statement, the president's legal team exercised its right to access the courts by initiating suits in state and federal courts in numerous states. Some of these lawsuits have even been presided over and adjudicated by conservative judges nominated by President Trump. Thus far, no justice, judge, or fact finder has found evidence indicating the election results in those states should be overturned. He added that, as I read the Constitution, there is no constitutionally viable means for the Congress to overturn an election wherein the states have certified and sent their electors and later voted to certify the results of the election. Even later on the campaign trail, Scott disagreed with voters who claimed the 2020 election was stolen. Quote, I do not believe the election was stolen. I do believe that states created a new system, mail-in ballots, that did not have signature verification, Scott said during a campaign event in June in Davenport, Iowa. After an audience member asked questions about cheating in the election, Scott added, there was cheating, but was the election stolen? There's a difference. I think every election there's cheating. So put Scott in the category of those who know better, but continue to undermine our democracy for short-term political gain. That's why I say that, I think the Marjorie Taylor Greenes are awful, but at least she doesn't know what she doesn't know. I mean, she's clueless, and she actually believes in this stuff. But a guy like Tim Scott and others who know better, who have the power to really save our democracy and step up, they refuse to do so because they want something out of it. And that to me is worse. And so, yeah, so here we are. We're left with individuals who continue to enable these election lies, who know better. And we now have an RNC that is getting hoisted by their own petard, to use a Shakespearean phrase. An RNC that is shooting itself in the foot, to use a different metaphor, by continuing to purge its own people if they don't go along with the nonsense about the 2020 election being stolen. And the latest is their respected chief counsel, the one guy that they brought along as a professional to help right the ship. Well, don't be surprised if that ship sinks. So that's the latest. I'm Dave Aronberg, aka the Florida Lawman, here on the MeidasTouch Network. If you like this video, please like it and leave a comment below, and I'll see you next time.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.